Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the show. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight we have a couple guests here with me. We have Sean Crypto Smith, and we have Josh Copeland, Cuddly Bear. He is here with us, and I am super excited to have him. And we're gonna talk to him a little bit. We're gonna give away one of his autographed cards, and see what he's doing lately. So, Josh, welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
What's been going on
in my world?
Yeah, well, you know, most of my audience is Para, so I know we work together with Para, and I don't know that many people have seen you coming live with me or anybody. Uh-oh, I lost him. Josh, where'd you go? Sean, did you get it figured out yet? Can't hear you, Sean.
Sorry, there we go.
There you go.
I changed the setting on mine. I don't know if that helped or not.
Yeah, I don't think I hear it anymore.
Okay. There was echo cancellation on the settings.
That's okay. We'll deal. Josh, welcome back. What'd you do? You break it?
I started pushing buttons, and yeah, then I was So now I'm back.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna stop pushing buttons.
Yeah, don't go away again.
No.
So yeah, I'll just give me 1 second. I'm gonna say hi to everybody. Welcome everybody. Rad's here, Waddy, Jay, Broderson, Sebastian's here. So we got some new people. Aaron Kelly, welcome. Thank you for coming. Yep, Cuddly Bear's here, and Waddy's here as well. So welcome everybody. So Josh, go ahead. You know what? Kind of introduce yourself. Kind of let everybody know what you're doing, and for Para, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So Josh Copeland. I actually grew up in Arkansas with Lee Tollison, and him and I reconnected when I was fighting at Madison Square Gardens. I was in a 8-man tournament. Winner got to walk away with $1 million, and I came up in second place. But
wow,
it was still Madison Square Gardens New Year's Eve. And it was definitely a great experience. So I know for me, once I knew that I made it to the finals, Lee reached out to me on social media and said, "Hey, if you need a sponsor, let me know." And him and I used to be really good friends. And then, of course, you graduate high school and everyone goes to college and you move away from each other, and one thing leads to another. And yeah, we reconnect after about 10 years, and yeah, and then he moves out here to Colorado, and bada bing, bada boom, we rekindle our friendship, and yeah, well, now we're best friends, giving piggyback rides and all sorts of stuff. So
now there is a fight scheduled between you and Lee in November. Am I right?
There is, and I hate losing.
Well, the rumor is that Lee hasn't started training yet. So I think he's going to be a little bit behind on this. Now, you know, there's this thing about him being a flying squirrel that he might come in and take it from you, or maybe you're going to let him win. And that could be too.
Well, I will say for all my friends out there, some good breaking news that just happened right at 3:30. I had just signed the contract to I'll be making my bare knuckle boxing debut, and so that's going to go down on October 15th. So the chances that I'm going to break a hand or two hands are very likely, which will definitely give Lee a hand advantage, up, if you will. Yeah.
That's awesome. You know, is it going to be there in around Denver area, the fight?
It is. Yeah, it'll be here in Denver, and first time bare knuckles been to Colorado, so I'm excited to be on the show, and I have not fought here in front of my local friends and family in a long time. So they matched me up against another guy, a guy from Brazil, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
So what I heard was if you have 2 broken hands, he might have a chance.
Might.
His
Might.
His
That's a
odds
key
go
word.
up.
Yeah. You know, when you said October 15th, I got really disappointed because we're going to Florida that day. So I'm like, man, I was like, yes, I want to go. I'm going to drive there because we're only we're 8 or 9 hours from you guys. And like, I'm totally going. You said October 15th, and I'm like, man, we go to Florida that day. And Julie's like, yeah, we're going to Florida. And I'm like, but are we? Maybe not. Maybe we'll just swing through Denver on the way, you know? Oh, well. That's okay, man. I'm really happy for you. That's awesome. So excited. I can't wait to see it. Well, hopefully it'll be on somewhere where we can all watch it if we can't go.
Yeah, I know Bare Knuckle streams all their events. I don't know. I'll have to look more into it. I know a lot of friends and family will want to tune in that can't make it as well. But once I figure that stuff out, I'll definitely post it.
Yeah, for sure. So now you're working with Lee in Para. Now, what are you doing for Para?
I'm basically in the office, sharpening pencils, giving Lee massages, bringing him breakfast burritos. I am not a tech savvy person. I don't even own a computer, so that's why I'm sitting here on my iPhone. But I know, in all seriousness, I'm in there just trying to help him however I can. Whether it's, I helped him a ton with all the NFTs, renaming and retyping all the new names and everything that we did. And he can give me simple tasks, and I can execute there. I think where I'm best at is just with my connections in the world, and just want to be able to use my little platform that I do have to just be able to help, I don't know, get the word out there. And I know, especially now that I have a fight coming up, I'll be able to wear a Parawerx t-shirt out to the ring and start giving some shout outs there and just kind of help let everyone know, get the word out.
Yeah, for sure. And everything that Lee's been through with Para, there's been a lot of trials, a lot of hard times, and just having somebody there that's close to him to help him with, just like you said, little things, whether it's with Para or not, it's the little things that really make the difference, in my opinion. And I agree with Rad. He's too modest. I mean, I know what you've done, and the things that you have done are not little things. They might seem little, but going through NFTs, renaming, and doing stuff like that, that's tough. It's tough work to do. So now another thing I want to point out too is you have a connection that you got Lee connected with Randy Couture and his foundation. And that's a huge, huge connection there. Just that alone. I mean, for Lee to be able to be connected with something like that in a foundation, Sean, I don't know if you know this, but Randy Couture's foundation, he gives 100% of the money that comes in goes out. He keeps none of it. So, there's a lot of foundations out there that, what's that?
I said, yeah, I read that.
You read that? Yeah. So, just that connection there alone is amazing. And, with the fight coming up in November, it was going to be on Veterans Day. I don't know that they've released date and time or location yet, but we're still waiting on that. But that, Para's going to.
We got it now.
We got it. Have they sent it out yet, though? That's the question.
They sent me an email yesterday, so I've been following up with them. And they sent me an email yesterday. Maybe Rad can type it in the chat because she knows Vegas more than me. So
yeah, and it's gonna be a great event. We're looking forward to all getting together and celebrating that fight and you and Lee's fight. And I think it's gonna be a great time. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Cuddly Bear's a class act. I agree. He is. And I've talked to Lee about having you on live streams on the Para YouTube channel too. You just kind of bring that personality that we need on here.
No, I appreciate it.
I'm not saying anything until they do it. Yeah, I know. That's kind of what we're waiting for, is them to officially announce it.
Oh, good. See, good thing I don't remember that, Rad, because I would have just spilled the beans. But yes, we did get confirmation of a date that I can't remember right now. I've been getting dehydrated every single day and pushing myself, but everything that I get from them, I share with Rad so that she's so good at what she does. And she's on top.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
She's amazing. She's been coming on here with me about every week for a while, and kind of got to a point where I was like, you need to take a break because of everything she does, so I'll probably get her back on again next week to do some more Web3 stuff. But, she is amazing. All right. So Kruger, we have a Cuddly Bear signed card to give away. So it's funny. Somebody had posted in staff chat for Para that they had found about 8 of these signed cards on eBay, and everybody just bought them up almost instantly. They're almost all gone. So we got one to give away tonight. And, we just wanted to bring Josh on here, kind of introduce him to everybody. He's kind of been in the background lately, actually forever, and kind of put him out there and thank him for everything he's doing for Para. I know, not a lot of people get a lot of recognition besides the people that are out doing things for Para. So, but we just want to say thank you for everything you've done, and we can't wait for the fights coming up for sure. All right, so I'm gonna bring up a giveaway, guys. We're gonna do this just with I can spell right.
It's funny being in the UFC with when they never even told me that the tops cards were going to come out with my own tops card, and I'm like, damn. I remember growing up collecting these tops cards, and never thought that one day I would have my own quote unquote tops card. So when I saw that, I was put a smile on my face.
And it's funny that we asked somebody, he goes, yeah, I remember signing them, but I don't remember what it was for.
Yeah, I don't. I've been hit in the head too many times, and too much time has passed.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. So type in #CuddlyBear in the chat, and it'll get you entered to win this autographed card from Josh. And then we'll get it sent out to you guys. You guys can message me either on Telegram or Twitter, and we'll get it sent out to you guys. But we'll do this, and then we'll let Josh go. I know he's got some family stuff to get to tonight. So, but
my son's got Cub Scouts.
Cub Scouts. Man, I remember Cub Scouts. Yeah.
I love it.
How old is he?
He's 9.
9, nice.
9. He's in 4th grade. Just started baseball. Yesterday was his first practice, and man, my life just gets busier and busier. So it's good though.
Yeah, man, I remember those times we did Pinewood Derby, and man, we did Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts forever. Seems like. So, Sean, what's going on with you?
Well, I am enjoying life right now, my friend.
Yeah.
Getting just doing the YouTube thing and the regular work thing, which I wish was a side job, but it's my full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's busy. It's been busy with coming out with videos and stuff for Mmai, and I'm trying to catch up on Para. I know you've been covering this for a while, and I really never dug into it. So I was trying to do my due diligence for the last couple of days and check it out and see what's going on. And I don't even think I knew it was military. I had a military charity component attached to it, and I was in the military, so I can certainly get behind that.
Nice. Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
So yeah, Para, Lee's a military contractor, so he's worked with military all across the globe, Australia, Europe. So he's got a lot of connections. There was pictures out all over the place when he first started. Well, last December when they launched, and with a lot of powerful people in different countries. And so he knows a lot of people, and he has this spot for veterans. And of course, me coming from a veteran family, my dad my uncle, both my cousins. My cousin just retired 30 years out of the Air Force. And so really, when a friend of mine sent this to me, I was like, wow, that's definitely something I want to be a part of. And then they started doing things like they do an expense tracker on the website. So you can see everything, where all the money goes. You can see where that goes. And at the time, there wasn't a whole lot of people doing that just openly like that. So
I know it came from, was it Suzuki or something that he was invested in and got rug pulled? I'm going to admit I did have a bit of that as well.
Yeah.
I did listen to the first AMA he had.
Oh yeah. That's kind of where it started. He said he got out right before. He just had a lot of like red flags started to pop up. So luckily he got out and, didn't make a whole lot of money, but then it rugged and, he was like, man, I want to do a token that is true. And so he did Para Inu as the first token and had the Inu part on there just as a, I don't know, it's a tribute to all the people that had been rugged, I guess, maybe. And then, so he started that and then they relaunched and we're the relaunch kings. I think we probably relaunched, was it 6 times now, Josh? I think we're on V6 now.
6 and counting.
No, there's no more counting. We're done. That's it. But yeah, it's just community driven a lot. And Lee's always out. We do a huddle every Wednesday. And DAG bridge coming. We'll talk about that too. And zero layer DAG for bridging blockchains and there's more. I mean, obviously there's a ton of stuff that we can't talk about that they're working on. And man, it's been great. And I always tell people, if you get a chance to sit down and talk to Lee, whether it's just a video chat or in person, do it. He's very passionate and he takes things very hard. He when things go wrong, he takes it personal to the bone. And no, we don't. Kruger, shut up. I'm deleting that. Get it out of here. So
anybody that takes personal responsibility for what they're doing, I can respect for sure. And you don't see a lot of that in this space.
No, there's a lot of excuses and a lot of like, oh, well, it was because of this. And, Lee came out and said many times, it's my fault, whether it is or not, he takes responsibility for it. And 14, if we get that high, I'm going to have a stroke. I'll tell you what. But yeah, he's always taking responsibility, always coming out and being transparent, and that's one of the things he wants to be. He wanted to put transparency to a whole new level when they started the first token. So
yeah, I can hear it when I listen to some of the videos that obviously, if you're going to take all these losses, on your own shoulders, that's a true leader does that. So it's good to see.
Yeah. And there's tons of times where, man, if I were him, I'd want to be like, I just want to be done with this. I don't want to do it anymore. It's been hard and everything's gone wrong, but I tell you what, he just keeps going and going and going. And I got to give him a lot of credit for that. So I'm the bad guy, right? Excuse me. Yeah, right, Kruger said 14. You're the bad guy. You guys can both be the bad guy. Yeah, no more relaunches. I think we're good.
So 6 relaunches. How stressful is that every time you have to relaunch, and then you're hoping nothing goes wrong and you're not getting botted, and there's you haven't missed something? Like, that's got to be super stressful.
Well, I can tell you from my point of view, but I'm sure Josh could probably tell you from being next to Lee. I mean, Lee was, I'm assuming, incredibly stressed every time.
Every time.
Yeah.
There's so much that goes on in the background that people don't even comprehend. And that's why, man, the guy has 4 kids, a wife, and a full-time business that he's trying to run. And then he's doing this. Like, that's why I try to go up there as much as I can, just bring him food, do as much as I can, just because he literally runs himself so thin. And people don't understand.
Yeah. And of course, when I hear the announcement for a relaunch, my thought is, the holders, right? What is everybody going to think, that we're having to do this because of why? I mean, you keep relaunching, that means there's a problem typically. The first time we relaunched, it was just to make the contract better. That's all it was. And then there was a problem with the contract where we had a problem with Uniswap and coin market cap, and you couldn't, the fees were really high and you couldn't hardly buy on Uniswap at all. And, you know, we got 2 weeks into it and we're like, that there's nothing we can do. They won't work with us. Relaunch again. And that was perfectly fine. We sat on that contract for 4 months or so. And then they brought out another contract to kind of get ahead of what's coming with government and regulation and stuff, and to change a few things. And then, you know, kind of went from there. So then we had another problem. And so, you know, but he's sticking with it. That's what I like. You know, it's not just quitting. There's been tons of projects that just stop, you know, oh, it's getting too difficult. Had too many problems. They run out of money, whatever the case is. But I'm telling you, he keeps going and he's adding to the team, and tons of good people that, you know, if it wasn't for Josh, Spencer, and Cameron this last time, you know, who knows what would happen. I mean, they were there and fixed everything and worked on it for him. So it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, it really resonated with me when he said, and I think this was one of the first AMAs or videos I saw him. He said, the government is coming for your crypto. You have to be ready for it. And I try to tell people that all the time, where, you know, they think this is going to be the Wild West forever. And at some point the government's going to crack down, go after some of the scam coins, and then try to enact, you know, taxes, which means, you know, more regulation. And I don't think a lot of these projects understand that if you look at these things from the SEC's perspective or the CFTC, almost every single one of these crypto is a security. And the SEC sees that, right? If you're trying to build your project based on money that, you know, investors are giving you, and they're expecting a return on that investment by your work, that is by definition, you know, a security. And so they're going to come hard and fast, probably not at all the little guys, but, you know, all the big ones are definitely going to have to pay their share.
Yep. And it'll just trickle down. They'll start somewhere. And, you know, I keep telling people is don't be surprised if they make an example out of somebody. You know, who it's going to be, what project it's going to be. We don't know. It could be.
Well, they're trying to with XRP right now, but they I think they picked the wrong one.
Yeah, definitely picked the wrong one for sure. Yeah. So somebody will get hit hard. And, you know, Lee's talked about it a couple of times where people have no idea what's coming, and, you know, take that as you will, but someone's going to get it. And people are going to go, holy crap, it's here now. And that's just, and it'll start, you know?
Yeah. So, I think we're just a year or two away from that really, really starting.
Yeah, for sure. I think, you know, one thing that kicked it really off for the government, I think, and everybody else, was Luna. I mean, to me, that's what really hit hard, where it was like, holy crap, that could actually freaking happen the way it did was just unreal. And I think everybody went, okay, you know, something's got to happen. So.
Yeah. Stable coins like that definitely are going to be the first part of regulation. They have to get their hands on that, because that is just, I mean, billions and billions of dollars, you know, lost. I'm sure people, you know, lost their lives over that. And that was,
Just, I mean, going from $119 down to 6 zeros. I mean, that's catastrophic. Unbelievable. Yeah. You know, and a lot of the senators that are coming out are saying, you know, algorithmic stablecoins aren't going to be part of regulation. Now, whether that changes or not, who knows? But what we'll see. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Go ahead, Sean.
They're going to have to be backed with something. Yeah. They can't be backed with a math problem. That just, they're not going to like it.
Yeah. Not everybody's good at math.
Exactly.
All right, guys. So we got 21 people in here. We got 21 entries. So we're going to go ahead and draw for this card. And then we are going to give away 1.5 million para as well. We'll probably do another 30 minutes. But we're going to do the drawing for this card. And then we'll let Josh go so we can get to Cub Scouts. And then we'll keep going, and we'll talk about, probably talk about Luna some more. And, of course, Metamonkey, which the stream is sponsored by Metamonkey, by the way. And we'll get into that here shortly, because I know Sean and I are both pretty excited about Metamonkey. All right, here we go. Good luck, everybody.
Well, I'm so nervous.
Who's it going to be tonight? Somebody new?
Oh.
Waddy. Congratulations, Waddy, the crypto hunter.
Hey, congrats, Waddy. I forgot. I didn't even put my name in.
So Waddy's another YouTuber that Sean and I have, I guess you could say, work with, covering other projects, and he's a great guy. Check his channel out. We'll go there in a minute. I'll pull up Sean's too, and everybody in here go subscribe to their channels. Great content. He does a lot of covers on a lot of different projects. So, but I know Waddy personally, so I'll get with him and we'll get it sent to him. No, congrats, brother. You deserve it. He works hard.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. So we'll get that sent to you. Brad called it. Yeah, she did. All right, Josh. Well, I'll let you go, brother. I know you got stuff to do. I appreciate you coming on. We'll definitely have to have you on again and hang out and maybe do some para YouTube content as well with you. But get out of here.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. I can't wait for the fight. Can't wait for what's coming up with para and all that stuff. So, Alex, Sean, thank you guys for the time.
Yeah,
it was great to meet you.
Heck yeah. Have a good night.
All right.
You too.
Have
Thanks,
a good time with the Scouts.
All right, guys. So, Waddy, congratulations. So, Sean, we'll go to Sean. So, everybody go to Sean's YouTube. I'll put it here. I'll put it in the chat. You guys go subscribe. He does great content. He makes some great videos. He's growing pretty quick. I mean, I think when I first started talking to you, I think you were at like 600 and some. So you're getting up there pretty quick.
It's a grind, you got to put the work in. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting, I didn't think it would be easy. I really didn't know what to expect. So I'm learning every day. You just got to keep putting content out there and get better and better. Yep.
And we talked about this earlier, with the viewing hours is probably the hardest part, trying to get that up, and it is a grind. I mean, I've been doing this for a little over a year, almost a year and a half. And, your first 1,000 subscribers are the hardest. And then just still getting subs though is difficult. So.
Yeah. And it really comes down to, I think, picking what you're covering, so unfortunately I can't always cover the things I want because it just doesn't get views.
Yeah.
So I have to consider that, and then in the back of my head is like, am I a sellout? What am I? Well, I mean, I'm on YouTube to get views. I mean, that's the reason I'm doing it. So I pick projects that I like, and so I can make good content on that. But, the stuff I really like in the XRP and all the ISO, 222 tokens and all that, it just doesn't get a lot of views on my channel yet. Maybe I'll work into that someday, but Terrarium and of course Metamonkey AI, I'm real excited about. And then I've covered maybe a couple things on there that on my channel that, I probably won't cover again.
Yeah. And I've done the same thing. I like to, since I'm a smaller YouTuber, I like to kind of hit smaller projects or up and coming projects too, and give them the chance to, even if I get 50, 60 views on my video with them or AMA, that's some sort of exposure for them. And a lot of the stuff I've done is, actually is really cool. It just depends on if it's going to take off or not. Do people like it or not? And that's the thing. Like you were saying, a lot of these projects that you and I cover are just based on hype. Terrarium's one thing. It was a huge hype when it first launched. They had a great launch, and things have happened since then. So it's like you said, you cover content, you cover projects that people are excited about, and kind of ride that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you kind of have to, unless you really want to drag this out for a decade, trying to get your first 1,000 subscribers. But it's, and I go into that in some of my videos, just like Terrarium is a great example. And I still think it's a great project. It's just, it is a prime example of what happens to communities when projects have a ton of hype in the beginning, the price goes high, and then just one little tiny thing happens. And then, some people scream, red flags and the price tanks, and then it's just running steady and flat for months and months with no real utility coming out. And that's kind of what builds up that toxic community where people get restless and then they get defensive, and then somebody says something and think they have to fight them. It's just kind of that back and forth. But that's just, unfortunately, most projects have that issue, which is why I liked MMAI, Metamonkey, because they're dropping stuff right out of the gate. Like already, we already have exchanges actually saying, hey, we're listing Metamonkey very soon after launch. So we've already got 3 of those, which was, you just don't see that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a perfect way to get into Metamonkey is by you saying that, because, we always talked about, we've talked to, Augustine about this on my AMA about, they're not say, hey, give me your money, and in 6 months, we're going to bring out a utility. So
Right.
They already have it ready to go. And, they did things differently, in my opinion, where a lot of projects are going to this, where they have a CertiK audit that's going on. They waited until it was done and everything was ready before they launched or before they did pre-sale, before they launched the token. And some projects will just be like, well, we're just going to go ahead and do pre-sale while we're waiting. And they wanted to make sure it was all ready to go before they took people's money. And so I highly respected that.
Yeah, that to me makes no sense, of people not waiting for a CertiK audit. I would not buy into a project that didn't have the CertiK audit already done, or some major audit, right? You're going to put your money in, and then some major issue comes up, and now what? Are you going to give me my tokens back, or my money back, or my ETH back?
Right. Or your money's your money's sitting in pre-sale, and they're having to fix a bunch of stuff, and then it's 2, 3, 4, or 5 weeks before they get everything fixed and they have a go ahead. I mean, it gets
right. And by
crazy.
that time, the sentiment turns negative. When people have to wait and everybody's complaining, and then they can't wait for the launch to start so everybody can dump their tokens, and then you're screwed. Now you're just totally screwed.
Right.
So
totally.
They did it right. Yeah, they absolutely did it right.
Absolutely. And they had a great launch. I mean, the launch was smooth. Airdrops were smooth. They the last hour of the pre-sale was crazy. They dropped an exchange listing right with an hour left of pre-sale, and it didn't look like they were going to get to 1,000 ETH. They were right around 900, but they dropped that announcement, and boom, it sold 100 ETH in an hour. And
makes you wonder, was it planned?
They
might have been holding that back for we might need this one.
That's what that's what I would think. If it sells out without it, then you use it during launch. If you're not getting close and you want to sell out, I think it's gonna be a great project either way. But
yeah, and you can tell this is a long term. This isn't gonna pump massively in the first month. This is going to take a while to build, but they've already got plans of dropping things along the way, and so that's awesome to see. And I'll be honest with you, I figured they would have got maybe 700, 750, ETH sold.
Yeah, me too.
Just the way it started.
I agree. And when it started getting up above 750 and 800, I'm like, okay, well, it might get. My prediction was 950. I thought it was going to get to 950, and that's where it would end. But when they dropped the exchange listing, I was like, that's like convenient or smart or both.
Yeah.
But the fact that they actually had the exchange themselves drop it on their Twitter is the big part. They didn't do it. It was that the exchange that actually did it. So kind of makes you wonder, was it just them doing it because it was ready and approved, or you know what I mean? So either way, it worked. And
I wonder how much of this is, and I know they've talked to other content creators and marketers out there, like Awesome Austin, who obviously has been in the business a little while. Yep. And they can go and they can take notes from all of these other projects that have launched before them and see what's going right and see what's going wrong, and try to incorporate as much as they can, into them, launching and moving forward, like communication, being open, not closing things down for months at a time before they have an AMA, or, have any new information and people have questions. Like, it's just, and there are other projects, and I'm not going to name them, but they kind of hold everything close to the vest, and they really believe, hey, this is my project. This is the dev team project, and you guys are just there to go along for the ride. And that's, unfortunately, in the community token space, that is the opposite of what should be happening. If you want to build your platform on the community space, you have to allow the community to be part of that. And they need to know what's going on behind the scenes, and they need to be updated. And there needs to be somebody in place who can do that, every day if necessary. I mean, I love how Cliff does Shimnobi, even though I lost a ton of money on that, the way they're going about the transparency, I like. I mean, he's a nice guy, and they're doing things right, that way. But, they've had some hiccups along the way. And unfortunately, that's just crypto.
Yeah. Well, and it's the way that the leaders of that token talk to people too. I mean, I've seen tons of responses from devs of other projects on Twitter and stuff, and I'm like, you can't talk to people like that's your community. They're the people. They're saying these things because they're invested and they're worried about their investment, right? So
Right.
you have to be respectful because we're the ones that are giving you the chance to actually do something with the project. Without us,
Right.
you don't have anything. So
Right. And sometimes it can be as simple as culture, or background, right, or experiences that some don't feel the same way. If you come from a different country or different religion or race, whatever it is, and your background's a little different, you may not view the world the same way that somebody else does. So you may not feel that you owe them a response, or you owe them some explanation or some information, as it comes up. But unfortunately, in this community space, that is the key word, and you've got to be part of the community, and they have got to feel like they're part of the project. Otherwise, you're going to lose them, and it's going to turn into all these other dust tokens we have now.
Exactly. You're welcome, Waddy. We'll hit your channel here in a little bit, and we'll get people to go over there and sub for you. But thanks for coming by. Congrats on the card. But yeah, I mean, another thing about MMAI too is they said they were going to hit exchanges hard right out the gate. And how many other tokens came out with 3 exchange listings before launch? I mean, that just says something about them and the project, right?
Yeah,
because
it really is super exciting, and it makes you realize that they're obviously doing things behind the scenes beforehand. They started this process weeks and weeks ago, whereas some kind of wait until let's make sure the launch goes smooth, and then let's start getting into the exchanges, and that I'm sure that process, I don't know what it's like, but I'm sure that process isn't easy, especially for some exchanges make it more difficult. Some make it a little easier, some you got to pay extra, you know what I mean? So there's a lot of back and forth that has to happen, KYC and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you start, weeks and weeks before you even launching, then that is clearly the way to go.
Yeah. And I think that should tell people something about the project too, is they haven't even launched, but these exchanges had already approved them. And you're right, Sean, it can take weeks to get, going through all that process. And then of course, it also explains why I think they asked for so much ETH too on pre-sale to put towards exchanges, so to pay for those. And, you can see the ETH going out to the exchanges. And I think that was part of it. So now when you look back, you're like, okay, well, they're getting on exchanges right away, and they're going to use that towards the exchanges. So I'm telling you, I'm very impressed with what they're doing. And if you haven't seen my AMA, have you done an AMA with Augustine yet?
No, I didn't get a chance. I was going to do one with Austin, but he was sick. Obviously, he was sick for days, and he had to cancel on mine, which I don't, yeah, I understand. I understood how sick he was, so I can appreciate him taking a break on that.
Yeah.
But I hope to soon.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, you guys, if you haven't seen mine, go watch it, because Augustine talks. He reminds me of Lee when he knows his stuff and he's passionate about what they're doing. So another reason why, after I heard him talk on a space, why I wanted to get involved with this project. And this is the first pre-sale I've been in, and it's the first project that we've bought into since Para, probably. I mean, I don't chase tokens anymore. I can't. There's just too much crap. Terrarium was a huge hype. We didn't get into Terrarium, and it's one of those things where my gut was telling me, and then partly my wife, I got to give her credit too. She was like, I don't think we should. And I'm like, okay, I get, and we didn't. And so now look where we are now. So,
the good thing about that is that Terrarium is pretty close to its launch price. So if you wanted to get in, you didn't miss anything.
And I agree with Austin too about that. He still thinks it could do something good. And
I totally believe in Terrarium. I have Terrarium tokens that I'm hanging on to. And I'm sure they're going to do well in the future. You have to be patient, and you have to let them build and obviously do it at their own pace and whatever they want to do. You're not going to force them, and you can't be upset about it. You just got to wait, and people don't want to wait. Right?
Yeah, for sure. And that's crypto is, I want everything yesterday. Right.
Yeah.
So one thing that, Para's been working on the staking platform, which I don't know if you looked into that or not.
Well, I do have questions about Para, but I don't know if you want to talk about it here. But
yeah, we can. We can for sure.
Okay.
But I want to share this. Lee said that he was investing in SHIB back when ShibaSwap was getting ready to come out, right? And they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. And he's like, man, this is ridiculous. I don't understand what's taking so long. This is crap. They just need to bring it out. And he goes, now that I'm developing my own staking platform, he goes, I get it. And I feel bad that I was one of those guys that was like pissed off that they kept pushing it and pushing it and pushing it.
But imagine all of the people that sold because they were tired of waiting, and it kept getting pushed, and they were like, I'm out of here. I'm going to put my money somewhere else. And then boom, one day, it just skyrockets. I actually got into SHIB before it really started taking off. And I didn't wait till the top. I got out, so I did make some money on it, which was pretty cool. I just got lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I always think of all those people that just got tired of waiting, and they're like, I'm out. I'm going to go do something else. And then they turn around and are like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, I know. And, I got into SHIB probably 4 weeks after it did its big dropping all those zeros, and, was starting to buy in heavy, trying to anticipate ShibaSwap dropping and hoping that would, drop the zero, and it didn't. And then waiting on Coinbase listings, and it didn't. And so I was at that point too, on waiting and waiting and waiting. Of course, I was new. So I'm like, I want to be rich today. And, a year and a half later, I'm like, it just doesn't work that way. Now I'm telling people, hey, you gotta be patient, because this stuff takes time and it's hard.
A lot of times you have to learn the hard way. You gotta go through those fails yourself. And I have a theory about SHIB, and this can apply to every token out there that's growing right now. When they reach a certain point, SHIB is one of the biggest, or if not the biggest, alt, or let's call it community or meme token, right? That started.
Yeah.
So I think, and I don't know if it's 1.5 or maybe it's more holders right now. It may be a little bit more, but that's a large amount in this tiny little space that we have in crypto, that we're near, I think, capacity, at the current time, for the people who are interested in those community tokens, and that are not just complete maxis of blue chips. So trying to get SHIB to go, higher beyond its all-time high again, they're going to have to reach out beyond crypto and get new people into it, because they're the only people who know about SHIB generally are already into crypto.
Yeah.
So it's a tough thing to crack. And that, I think they're trying to push that boundary, but it's very slow going, and they're going to have to really do a lot of marketing outside of crypto if they want to reach those numbers. And that's just, unfortunately, that's just the way it is.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's, I just consider it old money in crypto, where us as investors are taking money that's already in there and taking it from something and putting it back into something else. And what we need is, the other 96% of the world, or 20% of it, to come into crypto and bring their money in and bring new money into it. And I think that's when
stuff will start going crazy. Yeah. But until then, the same guys, and I saw this during the Inu phase that we had, a year ago, where we every other day was a new Inu token, and most of them were total garbage, and they were intentional garbage, right? They just were money grabs.
Yep.
But you could literally see, and I went and I tracked some wallets, and you see the same wallets going from one token to the next token to the next token, and it's basically the same group of people, and the same, it's thousands of people. Just bouncing from one token to the next. It wasn't bringing in new people. Yep. And we were just recirculating that money around and around. And it was just changing wallets from one guy to the next. And then maybe that guy, won on the next one. But it seems stupid to me to keep doing that.
It's a lot of work. I mean, you can make a lot of money if that's what you're doing all day, but there are groups out there that will pump and dump tokens. And if you think it's an urban myth, it's not. They're there. They do it, and it's just a lot of money. You can make a lot of money if you have a lot of money. It's different when you put $500 in versus 15 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand. It goes up from 3 zeros and a 3 to 3 zeros and a 4. They dump their tokens and they make a lot of money when you put a lot of money in. So us little people get screwed because we have $500 in and we're waiting for a zero to drop. I
was just going to say that everybody else is waiting for zeros to drop, and the big guys, the whales, they don't care. They just need to move, just a couple of ticks, and they're out.
Yeah, because if you make 10 trades a day, you make $50 on each trade. It's $500. That's a lot for me a day.
Yeah.
You know. So,
Yeah.
but to them, they're making $5,000 every trade.
Remember, you got to be a diamond hander. And I used to tell everybody, diamond handers are the ones who get wrecked the most.
Yes, your diamond handers are my exit liquidity. That's what they are.
You take your profits and you run.
Yeah, and I always tell people this is my motto, and I should put it on my YouTube: is don't be greedy, take profits, because everybody learns the hard way that you're in the hype, you're in the excitement, and I know there's other people in here too that were in the hype and in the excitement with Saitama, and we got wrecked because we held thinking it was going to go more and more and more, and it didn't. And that was our lesson. And
that was a very big learning lesson, I think, for a lot of people in crypto. That was a very big learning lesson.
Yeah, it was one of the first, first big meme coins after SHIB and some other, Doge and SHIB, and then they got Saitama, and look what they could do. Here's the deal: look what Saitama did just based on hype alone and being the first doxed team.
That's what I liked about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the first dox team, and they went. What did they do? They were in the billions. They went $3, $4, $5 billion market cap, which is insane.
If
you think about it,
ridiculous. With no utility. They were the first dox team, and when somebody comes out like with MMAI coming out with what they're coming out with, it may be slow going, but guys, the chart is extremely healthy. This is organic growth. It's not a pump and dump. It didn't 10x and then drop down to here. I mean, it just didn't do that. And this is what you want to see. This is a healthy chart. So,
what's funny is that after going through all of these different launches over the last year and a half, when it made it up to, what was it, 47, 48, and then started coming down, I was almost relieved, because I didn't want to see just a massive pump, for a day, because then a massive dump is coming. And I didn't want to see that in this project. So I, even though it would have been nice to profit more, but even though I didn't plan on selling, but when it started, people started taking profits, which is going to happen, totally normal. That I was almost relieved. I'm like, okay, good. We've got through this first phase. Now we just got to kind of stabilize and build.
Yeah, for sure. I totally agree. It kept going up and up, and I'm like, there was a lot of big buys coming. There still is. There was a 19th buy today.
Yeah, I saw that.
And was there a 16? I think also
there was 2 16s. There were 2 16s back to back from the same wallet. I mean, that was me. Wow. Just so you know.
That explains it.
I wish that was me.
Well, one thing to look at too, guys, is liquidity 2.63 million. Market cap's 4.7 million. That's unbelievable. I mean, if you look at a lot of tokens, you got an 8-9 million market cap and $700,000-$800,000 in liquidity. I mean, the liquidity in the floor on this token is amazing.
There's a good question for you right there, and that's one of the questions I had about the Para token. I know it's a brand new launch, and I'm not an expert on how all of these things work, but I know is it like a $12 million market cap right now?
Para is, yes.
And there's like less than $1 million in liquidity, which was surprising to see. And I don't know the reason for that, so I'm not judging. I'm just wondering what's the purpose or why.
I don't know, to be honest with you. It's kind of always been around that for liquidity. So, that is a question that I actually have never asked, and it probably should be one. But I agree with you. After seeing what Metamonkey has done with their liquidity, I mean, it's extremely high floor for sure, and that might be why sales don't impact it as much. That is why.
Yeah, and I'm going to say more sophisticated investors are going to look at that kind of thing. They're looking at all of the data, and that's going to attract them to a project like this where they see that massive amount. I mean, you're talking about what, 50%, 45% at this point is huge. And that means a lot. Even though I know it's locked for 6 months initially, and who knows what they're going to do when the unlock comes, but that does affect people.
The other thing we got to keep in mind too is with the sell tax right now, 18%, 11% of that's going into liquidity. So that could be another reason why it's so high too. And then they have 3% going forward after that. So that's just a lot of money going into liquidity. That could be another reason why it's so high too, versus other tokens that don't have as much or any going into liquidity at all. So I kind of forgot about that. But yeah, 6
that's
months.
a massive amount of a percentage going into liquidity, which you don't see anywhere else.
No. And when you got 80 cells like they had, that's a lot of ETH going into liquidity. So it's pumped it up a lot. And 10% buys, you got 3% going to liquidity this whole time. All this money being just sunk into MMAI, that's a ton of liquidity going in there. So that's a good thing. It really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So yeah, guys, check out MMAI for sure.
What do you think about the online offline wallet? Have you kind of looked into that?
I think
some questions on that.
It's genius. I think because they're kind of gearing towards third world countries with not a lot of infrastructure, right? And to me, it's like an offline wallet. What do you mean offline? You can't do anything offline. You can't make transactions, do stuff offline. And so when he talks about it, you're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's using it's using other means of reception, I guess, for lack of a better term, to get you to be online, I guess. So,
so you have to be online at some point in order, obviously, to charge, basically charge your wallet, right, or to make deposits into your wallet into whatever token you're going to be trading or paying for stuff, because that's really what it's used for, is for payment. And then you can either bump or you scan a QR code and it'll make that transfer for you. This is for people who don't know what the offline wallet is. So basically, it'll transfer that value, for whatever it is you're receiving. If you're at a local shop somewhere and they take tokens, which to me kind of is a little weird if they take crypto as payment, but yet you're in an area that doesn't have any service. I don't know how often that happens, but I don't live in those parts of the world, so I have no idea. But then basically, so it just makes that payment. And then once you're back into service, Wi-Fi, whatever, it go ahead and finalizes that transaction, on both ends, which is ingenious. And I'm surprised nobody's done it before.
Right. I totally agree with you. And that's one thing they're coming out with, things like, I bet there's tons of people out there that are like, wow, why didn't we think of that? So it just kind of laugh at it. But and they do have to have something to scan, like Sean was saying. So that's another thing they'll have to implement, is something that they can scan to pay for it. But still, I mean, it is genius, and it should be out here soon. I wonder, they were hoping by the end of last month.
They do have the feature where you can, I think it's called near field communication, NFC, where you just kind of bump phones, where you used to trade, photos and whatever. But yeah, you can do that as well, I believe. Yeah,
kind of borrowing their service, I guess, if you will.
Right.
But yeah, he did talk about that. But we'll have to find out if they're waiting on something to drop the wallet. I know they wanted to do it by the end of the month last month, but I haven't heard anything. So,
well, I think they said at least it would be somewhere around a week-ish after launch. So we're going to come up to that. So that's probably going to be a good question for Augustine or Austin.
Yeah, for sure. Because yeah, for sure. And that's, we can talk about that too. Austin signing that contract to be their marketing person. Austin's a great guy. If you guys don't know him, don't watch his channel, please do. He knows his stuff. He is a great individual. So yeah, I was very excited for him when he finally did sign the contract and became part of the team.
Oh, it's funny. I didn't realize they put him on the website now. That's cool. That's excellent. Congratulations, Austin. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a super cool dude, and he does. I think he's just got a heart of gold. This guy, he cares about his community. He doesn't, despite he's got some haters, and you're going to have as many followers as he does. You're going to attract some haters, but he doesn't shill, garbage, right?
Nope.
They may turn into garbage at some point in the future, but that is not anything you can control. But he does his due diligence and does his research and really cares about the content he puts out and wants to make sure he protects the people who watches. And that's, you got to respect that. You can't control every project that you might put on your channel, and control what they do, but you do your best. And as long as you got your heart in the right place, you can't fault anybody for that.
Yeah, for sure. And, I don't like to use the term influencer because I don't want to influence anybody to buy anything. I want to create content for everybody that gives them information that they can go and buy what they want, knowing the correct information, like you were saying. And, he does the same thing. He had a problem with a project, what was Terrarium, just recently that he was covering really heavy for a long time. And, he came out and said, I'm not selling my tokens. I still believe the project's going to do well. I'm just not going to talk about it anymore. And
Right.
he was straight up with everybody. And I'm like,
Right.
wow, that's pretty impressive. And if he sells something, he'll tell you. He'll come straight out and tell you.
And he's very open with that. And he really, I think he went out of his way not to talk negatively about it because, I mean, he's holding the tokens. Why would you don't want to really badmouth them while you're going to diamond hand, for a while. So yeah, I respect that. I know there was some back and forth, and I think they got that squashed the other day on the Twitter space, which was good to see. I think cooler heads prevailed, and
absolutely,
everybody will just move on and try to be adults about it.
Yeah, and everybody needs to work together in this space, just like we are. We have a group of content creators that we're working together to help each other to build our channels and to do the right thing. And I think there's about 10 of us, and that's what we're trying to do is bring our communities together, and projects need to do the same thing. Everybody, a lot of projects are doing the same thing, and a lot of projects aren't. And so coming together, making things better it's going to grow much faster. So Crypto Lounge, welcome, brother. It's good to see you.
Hey, what's up, Michael? How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Yeah, I agree 100%. I don't get it. What's good for one project is usually good for another project, especially in a small area like crypto. I understand if you're directly competing with somebody and, there's somebody else making whatever it is that you're making, right? And you're in competition. I can kind of see the animosity and the disrespect you might get from that. But, a lot of these projects are doing completely different things where there is zero competition other than the money, right? And, I didn't need to sell tokens from another project in order to buy MMAI. I saved up a few bucks and scraped it together and, bought it on my own while I still hold all those other tokens.
Yeah. And that's exactly what needs to happen is instead of taking from one project and putting to another, we need to, continue putting it into others that you believe in. And I always tell people, real quick, hashtag Parawerx in the chat. We're going to give away 1.5 million para. So, someday, who knows? Para to $1 could be worth $1 million. You never know.
I like that.
Yeah, that's one of the things that's going around. It's para to $1. It's, wanted to be one of the first, meme coins to get to $1. And we've just
technically speaking, the supply is what, 50 billion?
Yep.
So 50 billion. Yeah. I mean, having a $50 billion market cap is that's not unheard of. And I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility in the future sometime.
Yeah.
We're going to have tokens that are going to be worth, in hundreds of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions.
Yep.
If not trillions.
Yep. I agree.
So,
it just comes back to use case, the utility. And I kind of agree with Austin. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm like, I don't really like utility either. But it also comes down to what do you consider a utility? Because to me, it has to make the token worth more. It has to give people a reason to buy it, So it's one of those things.
Yeah, and I try to separate those two on my channel, and I really try to explain that there is utility. There's two kinds of utility. There's utility for the project and the company behind it where they're making money, but it doesn't do anything for the token you're holding. Right. Yeah. So what utility are they going to have that's going to make people want to buy more of that token? That's the only way you're going to get any improvement on your investment is by people buying more of that token.
Yep. I agree. And that's what people want is they want my tokens to be worth more money so I can make money. Right.
Yeah. So that's the reason you're here.
Yeah. And I agree. Yeah. Crypto Mom. Yeah, it's good to see you, by the way. Not many projects had 0% buy tax. Para had 0% buy tax for, a month or two, I think. So, Kruger, yeah. Para's creating utilities with utilities, yeah. And they're creating, Lisa the other day, they're creating a secret utility that came out of necessity. Have no idea what that is, But the fact that he says something like that, I'm like, what could it be? That's crazy. Something came up and they're building a utility because of it.
So if you're not promoting, if you're talking about a token or a project out there, my number one question is, why would people buy it? Like, what's the reason I need to buy it? Right. I mean, if you have an exchange or you have NFTs, yeah, I guess I'm going to buy NFTs, probably not with your token. I'm going to buy NFTs with one of the blue chips out there. But what makes people want to buy your token that's going to cause my investment to go up? What's that utility? And that's my number one question. And that's going to be, and I'll ask for Para, because I don't know that I know, and the same for Metamonkey. Like, what is going to cause people to buy more to make my investment improve?
Correct. And that's my question with Metamonkey too is, one thing that you have to have MMAI tokens to use them all, or you have to use them in the mall, or whatever the case, that's just an example.
Sure.
But why do people want to buy the MMAI tokens to make money? How is it going to make people money? And Para is the same way. They just released a staking platform. So now you can go on there and stake Para and earn Para tokens, which there's a lot of projects out there doing that. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say they're the only one. But one thing that they are doing is they're pairing NFTs with tokens, with the Para tokens, to earn you more, kind of like a multiplier. So that's something that other projects have. I believe there's one project that had done it, but didn't work out, and they're no longer doing it. So that's one of the things that Para is doing. And there's more coming. There's just so much stuff that Lee can't talk about yet. There's things that he said there's things that we're going to come out with that's going to make you buy more and going to make you want to hold it. So what those things are,
the utility you need. 100%. That's the utility you need. Correct. To be able to explain to people, hey, this is why you need to get into this project, or why you should at least, check into it, do some research and see if it's for you. But if you can explain to somebody adequately why, other people would need to come into the space and buy this, or why they would want to, that is where the utility lies. If the company's making money, fantastic. Obviously they have to pay the bills. They have to continue to grow. So I can't ever judge a company for making money. That's what they're there for. But in order for the community to get behind you, you got to throw us a bone,
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree with you. So I'll just explain the staking platform real quick for anybody in here that doesn't know. So you can stake just Para tokens and Para tokens with NFTs, but you can't stake just NFTs. So every time lock has a multiplier, and every NFT has a multiplier. So if you stake 1 million Para at 120 days, that's a 100% multiplier. It's going to give you 2 million tokens in the staking pool. That's not your return. It's just going to multiply the tokens you put in. And then if you can stake up to 20 NFTs. Each NFT gives you a 5% multiplier. So if you stake 20 of them, you can get another 100%. So now you've multiplied your tokens to 3 million in the pool. So the more tokens you get, the more tokens you stake, the longer you stake them for, and the more NFTs you get, you'll get more percentage of the staking pool. And it is all one big staking pool. They didn't separate them out into 4 different pools per time lock, which is kind of honestly what I thought at the beginning, but it's just one big pool. So the more tokens you put in with more NFTs, the more you're going to get back.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I see that. So you can stake Para tokens just by itself. Yes. If you don't have NFTs, then you can add your NFTs if you got that, just to multiply what you're getting in return.
Correct. Yep. And once you stake tokens, you can't add NFTs until you unstake them.
So you got to go through the lock period and then unstake. Gotcha.
Correct. Yep. And you can stake for 0 days. Obviously, it just doesn't multiply. You still get rewards. You can claim rewards every 24 hours. So and it goes by the time you stake. If you stake right now at 8:04, tomorrow at 8:04, it would refresh automatically, and you'd have rewards on here to claim. So they did have a problem with the staking platform with the rewards that they had to implement a fix for, and I think they had to wait 48 hours. I think that was up. I haven't heard anything yet, but it should be fixed here shortly.
And so what's the DAG they're working on?
So the DAG is a 0-layer bridge, and of course, with a DAG, you're not going to have any gas fees. It's going to pretty much bring, what they say, Rad, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in here. How many blockchains did he say they're going to be on there? 26? Let's see if she puts on there. He said the other day he had a whole list of them that he was writing off. This next week they should have Solana on there and be testing Solana to ETH. So
basically they're going to try to bridge like some of these big blockchains to where you can work on like one project over multiple blockchains.
And well, they're going to bring it to POS systems. 25.
Oh, gotcha.
So they're going to bring it to POS systems, so you can use it, in an app to pay for whatever you want to pay for anywhere. And they're working on a deal with a company. Don't know the company. He hasn't announced it, for a POS system. So that's bringing mass crypto adoption is what he says, using the DAG bridge. And there's, I made a video about DAG bridges, and there's, people are saying DAG bridges are the future over blockchains. Now, blockchains are heavily adapted and they're trusted and they're used. So will that ever happen? Who knows? But, they're just not out there yet. DAG bridges aren't. So
no, I agree that I think DAGs will overtake blockchains in the future. I mean, blockchains right now are just the first example of crypto, going forward, and the technology, they're going to improve on that as we go down the road. And DAGs, because they can stack transactions on top of each other, and they're not in a long chain, even though I do believe they're still considered proof of work. So I don't know how that part of it, how that's going to go, but yeah, I can see you should be able to move more transactions quicker in a DAG than you can in a blockchain.
Yeah. And they, people ask how many transactions, can you do every minute or whatever? And they're like, there isn't an amount on a DAG bridge. They haven't found a max on a DAG bridge of how many transactions you can do. So I thought that was pretty interesting too, is they're trying to figure that out and they can't. It's just kind of like, seems to be infinite, whether it is or not. But so I thought that was really interesting as well.
Yeah.
So that they're getting really close on the DAG bridge. I know they've been working on it really hard, but Wildlife said it really well. Create a launch pad with modules, pre-audited, NFT marketplace. They got crypto lists. I don't know if you read in about crypto lists. They merged with crypto list. They have an aggregator that oh, what? That sucks.
Yeah, that's a good explanation.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to bring it up. CryptoList has a platform that's going to rival CMC. It's going to have a lot of functions where the projects can change things themselves. They don't have to put in a request to like CMC to change market cap, or they'll be able to log in and change things themselves, which, being able to have somebody to communicate with that'll actually fix your stuff is going to be huge, I think. My favorite to try it. Yeah, Rad, her guess is Walmart on the POS system. That's been a popular. He's dropped some eggs, some Easter eggs around, and that's infinitely scalable. Yeah, there's good wood for it. So yeah, that's exciting. If it is Walmart, that'll be a huge relationship for sure.
Yeah, that's a good first step right there. Walmart, one of the largest stores on the planet.
Yeah. So that'll be huge. And that might kind of wake up other, if that's what it is and gets announced, it'll kind of wake everybody else up too, I think, kind of introduce it. So
yeah.
What else did he say? Oh, and then so the DAG. Yeah. So Launchpad, people will be able to go launch contracts, build contracts, and launch them on the Launchpad. An NFT marketplace, you'll be able to go down there and buy, sell, create, I believe. So that's all being worked on in the back. So a lot of stuff they're working on. And then he comes out and says, working on a new utility that we just came up with. So they really are working on a lot of stuff. So hopefully soon we'll start to hear about it.
So let's see, in the future, will I be able to go into the Metamonkey Mall and purchase a pair of shoes using Para tokens?
Well, I think that's 100% possible, because it's funny when I was talking to Augustine about, they always say payments, you're going to be able to use that as payment. And my first thought is, well, the DAG bridge, right? Because payments, that's what the DAG is going to be for. And so I told him, I said, let me know when you want to, I think you and Lee should talk and see if it's something that can make it work. And once they get launched and stuff, I think that's something that they should do, sit down and talk about it, because if it can help them, that's just bringing two projects together, right? To forward their project and to use another project. So I think
there'll be a lot of that coming up here in the next couple of years. There'll be, if the Metamonkey Mall comes out and is big, right? Obviously anybody with a payment type token is going to want to get on board and be like, hey, I want to, let's at least have an option, to be used on that platform, right? That's just another gateway for them to make more money, to get more, noticeable out there.
100%. And that just goes back to the question of, will they have to pay to be able to use it in the mall? You know what I mean? Like, it goes back to what's going to benefit the holders as far as the mall goes. And that's my biggest question. I think that's their biggest tech. But how is it going to increase the price of the token? Why is it going to make people want to buy the token?
Yeah, I think that's going to need to be an answerable question, sometime soon. Like, what's the plan going forward? Why are more people going to get on board besides the tech? And I love the tech. I'm a tech guy. And I see, just like I was going to say, like the DAG, thing, hardly anybody, even in crypto, knows about DAGs. But, just like a DAG is to blockchain, think 10, 15 years from now, there may be something out that makes the DAG obsolete. Just whatever 100%. The next, evolution of crypto turns into. And we probably have no clue. Nobody's even thought of it yet.
Yeah.
But once we start getting into the metaverse, which I think a lot of people are excited about, but I think that they're not really aware of how far a lot of this is going to be as far as making it mainstream. Obviously we're years and years in the future.
Yep.
So this is going to be one of the first good projects, I think, that we're going to be able to follow and get into, and then test out. I'm really looking forward to getting in and testing it out. I've got an Oculus, so nice. If we can pair that up and get in and walk around and hang out with some of your crypto buddies.
Yep.
While you're shopping, to me, that's just like the ultimate fanboy dream.
Yeah, for sure. And, I think COVID kind of put us into that mode too, where, for a while, a lot of people didn't go anywhere. And so now you can go somewhere and see people, but not actually be there. So I think that's going to be big. And who's doing it? A lot of metaverse projects, but, you just have to look at, a friend of mine's like, well, if MMAI can do half of what Sandbox did, then we're good, So
oh yeah,
I totally agree with him. And what they posted another video today, I think, of the school. And I don't know if you watched that video or not, but kind of like a preview of the school and stuff.
I saw that. I think that was out like a week ago or so, because I think I'd included that in one of my videos. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's super cool. Obviously the tech behind it, the what do you call it? The virtual world that they're building is hyper realistic, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. They had the video of that shoe store. We go in there and look at all the shoes on the wall, and it was amazing. I know.
Yeah. You could just point, at different, ones, and it'll kind of pop out and, turn around and show you, show you what they look like. So yeah, that's, I don't know. I think the metaverse, because the metaverse is trying to be just a virtual version of our own world. It's limitless. The things that you'll be able to do in there, at some point in the future is really unlimited.
Yeah. It's
probably even more than what we can do in our world.
Yeah. It's not physical, so you could literally do anything in it. So it's unbelievable that that we're getting to that point. And I think in 5 years, we'll know exactly where we're going to be with all of this. And it may be sooner too, but I thought something Augustine said was pretty amazing. Somebody asked, well, I can go on Amazon and shop for myself. Why do I need AI? And he was like, well, there's a lot of stuff that you can do by yourself, but what about buying a car? And I'm like, oh yeah, because there's a lot of people that don't know anything about cars and could use that help to go buy a car. And I'm like, oh, there you go. There's your answer. So
Yeah, and people who are sick or bedridden or elderly or whatever the case, or the social anxiety, or just the person who hates car salesmen, right? Who can then go into the metaverse, slip on the VR headset and go and ask questions, and automotive dealerships can upload their inventory, so you can look, and maybe ask questions to a VR, uh,
yeah,
customer service person, and go that route, right? And that's for, and there's countless more examples you can name, but that's just what I think of. I think of somebody who's kind of stuck at home, doesn't like to go out, or hate, doesn't like to go shopping and around groups of people, things like that. And that's just a small percentage of what can happen. Not to mention the games and the social interactions, for people that like to social. And it's funny, I was thinking about, as I look at the metaverse, I think in my life personally, besides my Tuesday golf league, right, YouTube is my only social interaction now. Like, that's
yeah,
all I do. I don't really
yeah,
talk to anybody else. My
yep,
boys are out of high school, and so I don't really have a lot of time spent with them and their sports and all that. So yeah,
yeah,
this is what I enjoy to do.
yeah. And it's funny you say that, because of course, I stay home with our two girls, and we have a 4-year-old and almost a 3-year-old now, and we only have one car because my wife goes to work, I stay home, and so I don't go anywhere unless it's the weekends. And so I'm right with you. Is I come on here, and this is my interaction with people, unless we go out on the weekends and do something, or have friends over. But this is my social interaction. So we're already doing it, or I am a little bit now. So to take that leap into metaverse is not
Yeah.
far.
Yeah. And I'm not a fan of crowds. So, I think the metaverse is going to be perfect for me.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of disrespectful people. Crowds I'm okay with, but it's the people that I have a hard time with. So,
Yeah.
all right, guys, I'm
That's
gonna go ahead
okay.
and do this
Good.
drawing. We've got about 26 entries, so this is for 1.5 million para. And again, you'll just message me, and I'll get those sent over to you guys. We had a couple people donate from the community to do this giveaway, so thank you to everybody that donated, and yeah, we'll get it going, and good luck, everybody. We'll see who gets it tonight. Crypto pre. Oh man, Alan Grammy.
A little premature on that one.
Yeah, man. Congratulations. Or is Alan in here?
You
Type
got
in
him
the chat,
excited
Alan.
too. Now he's
I
mad.
did. Oh, that was either way. It was going to be a new winner tonight between those two. So either way,
Congratulations, Alan.
yeah, congratulations. Hopefully you're in here. We'll give you a little bit. If you're not, that is one of the stipulations. You have to be in the chat. So if we don't see you here shortly, then I'll just roll it again until we find somebody that's here. I do want to mention, I do have memberships, guys. I probably will do membership only giveaways once I get to a certain certain level of members. It's just a little bit easier to keep track of who's who, and not be giving away money to scammers. So I have about 3 different levels. So no pressure. Like I said, once I get to a certain amount, I'll probably start doing members only giveaways. What those are going to be, I don't know yet, but we'll do something for everybody. Oh, he is here. Congratulations, Alan. So you can message me on Twitter, Telegram. I have a blue check mark next to my name. You can go find me under admins in Paris Telegram. So just message me and your ETH address, and I'll get those sent over probably tonight or tomorrow morning. Let's pull the Steve. No kidding. That's funny. I did. Man, someone got excited and then I ruined it for him. Yeah, thanks, Brad. If you guys could like the stream, subscribe to the channel. It's gonna be a lot of exciting stuff coming up. Don't forget to go over to Sean's channel, subscribe to his channel as well. And then Wadi put his in as well in the chat. So go over and subscribe to him. I missed it. So Wadi the Crypto Hunter, he does a lot of, man, he works really hard. He's doing 1 or 2 a day, it looks like. So go check him out. Subscribe to his channel. He is also working on getting to 1,000 as well. And then Texas Tornado, man, he's still streaming. He's been on since 6 o'clock. Man, he's been going on 2.5 hours. That guy is a machine. I'm telling you.
He is. I was going to say that, yeah, the live stream, I have to do live streams. I just got to get into it. And I keep saying I'm going to do it, and I'm not doing it, but that I know definitely helps the hours, building up for YouTube. So I need to start doing that. I need to actually, I'm going to do a weekly, with my, it's going to be called Straight Talk, with Crypto Smith.
Nice. Yeah.
And so Saturday, I actually have Larry from Crypto Talk Now on. And we're just going to talk about some Metamonkey also and some other stuff.
Yeah. There you go.
There I am.
I'll put it in the chat again. How many times I got to do this for you, man? Come on.
Yeah. Where you been? If you just type in the Crypto Smith in the search on YouTube, I'm pretty sure I finally gained the first spot.
Yeah, you did. I'm pretty sure. Yep.
Yay.
I'll put it here in the chat again, Kruger. So there you go. Thank you. he does do really great content, guys. I'm telling you. He does great content.
I appreciate that, Kruger.
So what's your favorite thing about Metamonkey? I have to ask.
Well, when I look at projects, the very first and honestly, the one thing that can stand on its own more than anything, I think, is the dev team. Because even if they have a flawed technical concept or those things can be fixed, but if you have a dev team that you can't stand behind or can't get behind, right, that has to be, to me, the number one item. If you prioritize your lists, dev team, tech, community, you have to have the dev team is the heartbeat, to stand behind. And that to me is the number one. And I like the fact that they're already successful business people. They're already in the AI community, right? So they already have a lot of experience. So they're not learning as they go. And I was impressed with Augustine's ability to, even though he's admittedly new to crypto, but he's able to pick up on it fairly quickly. And he didn't have a lot of, I'll have to get back to you on that, or I don't really know, kind of answers. So I know he's jumping in, and I'm sure he's got a ton on his plate. But the dev team, and then obviously the tech helps, but I know that they're already into the tech, right? That already exists in their world. So, I'm not worried about that. And that's really was my favorite part, and that always draws me to a project is the devs. The community will stand behind them. If you got a good dev team, so I can't be worried about the community.
Yep,
so,
I agree.
So that's it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And Rad, I agree with her too. Devs over tech. I mean, like you said, tech can be created, tech can be fixed. Yeah. But the how hard the dev team works to create things, make things right, communicate to the community, all those things. That's exactly what I don't buy necessarily the token. I'm buying the devs. I'm trusting the devs to come through with their promises or continue to work extremely hard to come through with it. And there's a reason why I only continuously cover 2 projects, which are Para and Metamonkey, because I believe in Lee and the team. I mean, I better believe in the team. Technically, I'm on the team. I'm on the website. So in Metamonkey, same thing. I believe business background, which Lee has too, and Augustine has. So they know how to run a business, and getting their faces out there and being transparent with the community, telling people what's going on. I'll go back to Saitama. There was a lot of stuff where things weren't communicated. It would have been a simple, hey, we're having a problem with this. We're working on it. We'll try and update you guys in a couple of days. It's simple. I don't need, it's going to be this date. I just need to know why something's not going the way it's supposed to be going. And be honest with me. If there's a big problem, you guys are trying to fix it, just tell me. That way I can make a decision on what I want to do with my money. Right?
Yes. And that's the key. right? You need to know what's really going on so that you can make a decision for what's right for you and your investment.
Yeah.
No. So
Exactly.
yeah, devs over tech every time, Rad. Absolutely. That's you know, it is what it is, and that's you can't fix a bad dev. Like they're not
No.
going to get honestly, and I believe obviously they're adults, and a lot of them are older adults and have had a lot of experience. You're not going to make them change. If you don't like what they're doing, they're not going to change themselves. They can change the
Right.
tech and they can change the project. And then maybe the community can change a little bit, but the devs are never going to change.
Yeah.
So that's the
Yep.
number one thing. That's the what do you call it? The base to build on.
Agree. And the community needs to be a little bit more understanding, and the community can't drive what the devs are doing to an extent. You can't just tell the devs, hey, you got to do this. Like, it doesn't work that way. Things, if you've never had a project and never been in the background of how to create these things, you wouldn't understand. I don't know the full scope of the difficulty that it takes, but I know now that it takes time. And if you want your stuff to get stolen, somebody can throw something out there right now and it won't be secure and everything will be gone. But it needs,
Right.
you need to do it. And you need to do it right. So, yep, I got your message, Alan. Thank you. So, I totally agree. And that's the reason I haven't invested in anything else for a long time. I don't want to jump into projects. Suzuki was one of those. I got rugged on that.
Yeah, and who was the dev on that?
What's that?
And who was the dev on that? Like, we didn't know, did we?
No.
And then that's I ask people that they say, well, I got rugged on this one project. I'm like, well, who was the dev? Like, well, I don't know. They weren't docs. I'm like, well, there you go. I guess you deserved it.
Yep. Exactly. And that was one of those hype things.
Afraid to show their face.
Yeah.
Like, why? Why were they afraid to show their face? And unfortunately, I don't think there's really any solid reason to not be doxxed if you're asking people for money. And you can't say security, your own security is a reason. That's not a reason. That's not a valid reason, right? You have CEOs of Fortune 500 companies worth, hundreds of millions of dollars, and their face is on everything.
Yep.
Like, you can look up where they live.
Yep.
Like these things are public. That's public information. So for you to say, oh, I'm afraid, for my life, I'm afraid for my safety, that's just not a valid reason.
No,
you're only afraid for your safety because you plan on rugging, right? And you don't want people to know where you live, so they come and ask for their money back.
Exactly. And there's projects, I won't name any, but there's projects like, why trust the devs? And I'm like, how? You don't know who they are. How can you trust somebody where you literally haven't seen who they are, don't know their names or anything? So
it's hard. And I do wonder what the real KYC process is to go, for these undoxed devs, for these projects that get listed on, some of the meme coin, what I consider the meme coin exchanges, the gate.ios and stuff like they can get on there. I wonder what KYC process they really have to go through, because they rug, once they get on there and they rug, well, they're known.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anybody gets caught.
I can tell you right now, there's exchanges out there that you don't have to do much to get on there.
That you pay the fee they want, probably.
You pay them money, you give them tokens, and that's that. So yes, it's possible. Well, they're on exchange. It doesn't matter. That still
that's
happens.
One of the excuses that they give. Yeah, right. That's one of the excuses they give. Well, the team, they have to KYC to the exchange to get listed. I'm like, how real is that? Like, do they show up in a boardroom and they introduce each other? I don't think so. Right. They probably send a copy of an ID or, maybe a utility bill. I don't know how it works, but I can imagine, some of these exchanges are shady.
Absolutely. And the funny thing about Suzuki was they got a guy from Telegram that they put in on an AMA with Saitama because they were going to get listed on there. And he ended up, I don't know what ended up happening to him, but he was going to take the fall. Like, he was their patsy, man. They knew what they were doing. They had him go in, hey, you want to go to this AMA? So everybody thought he was the one that was running the token. And but he was the only one people knew. So he was the one people were going to go after.
And I'm sure that ruined his life.
Oh God, I can't imagine. I kind of, if he didn't really know and he wasn't the real dev, I feel bad for him. Yeah. But you'll never know.
You want to go into hiding after that.
Yeah, no kidding. I remember that. man, we were in St. Louis when it rugged, visiting family. And I remember it like it was yesterday, and all the spaces that people were having, trying to figure out it. And man, it was bad.
I remember looking at my Coinbase DeFi wallet and going, okay, well, I guess I expected that, right? That was just another one.
That was my first one. So it's
That
got to, it's not a matter of if, but when. You know, if you want to be a DJ and you want to just throw money into tokens and hope for a 10x or whatever, and it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got 3 or 4 under my belt, so I'm feeling pretty good.
Well, I learned pretty heavy, and you know, when you don't have a lot of money to throw into stuff to try and make money, you got to kind of pump the brakes. You're like, okay, well, we got to be a little more strategic about where we're putting our money, be a little bit more smarter about it. So.
Yeah, I did a lot of the throwing around, you know, quit a little money here and a little money there, hoping that, you know, maybe you'll get lucky with a 10x or somewhere. But I learned also, you know, from that, and 95% of my crypto is blue chip right now, and it just long-term holds.
Yeah.
You know, because in the next bull run, in another year or two, you know, I think it's going to explode, and hopefully I'll be smart enough to take profits along the way. Hopefully I'll take my own advice.
Yeah, I always tell people, have a plan. That way, you know, like when it gets here, I'm taking profit. When it gets here, you know, and that's what we've done. And, you know, hopefully it'll work out this next.
Yeah, and that's nice about MMAI is that they're also on board with, you know, hey, you know, don't be dumb. Take your profits along the way, right? There's no reason to diamond hand. This thing's going to go for a long time, you know, and this is a long-term hold if you want to do that. But along the way, you know, take some profits, you know, be a wise investor.
Yep. And I always tell people, you know, make a goal and take your initial out at least. And then you're just riding on house money. Then you already have your money back, whether it's $300, $500, $1,000, whatever it is, take your money back. That way if something does happen, because nothing's guaranteed. Everybody keep that in mind too, is we didn't know. We've been talking about Metamonkey for a couple of weeks, and we kept trying to, you know, even Austin was like, it's not guaranteed. We're not guaranteed that the launch is going to go smooth. Something might happen, but you know, I think once you're in crypto long enough, you have this gut that you're like, okay, I think this is going to be good. And you just kind of, if you don't follow it, I'm telling you right now, when you develop it, if you don't follow it, you're going to be looking back going, God, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that. And you'll just learn that you got to follow it.
And this launch seemed a little easier for me too, because this launch, it had been a while since we've had a decent project, you know, come around, right? And it's been very dark and quiet in crypto for 6 months or so. So I thought, okay, yeah, we're going to have people who are still, you know, a little untrusting. You know, they think, oh, this is just a money grab. They didn't do their research. You know, they didn't check it out. But a lot of people who've been waiting finally for something to come along that they can kind of sink their teeth into and get behind, you know, again, and kind of start this over, being a wiser investor now, you know, after we had the whole Inu season and all the rug pulls, and this, you just, like you said, you kind of have a feel for it now. Like you kind of know, like, okay, this is going to be different. So I can put my money in this if I want to, and I can just sit back and watch it, you know, take the ride.
And I think something to be excited about, a project to be excited about. I think that's been something we've been missing for a while is, you know, there's been a lot of projects that's come out that I'm like, I just don't feel like I'm excited about it. And that plays a role into what I want to invest in. And you know, you said it, where people are throwing money into things and losing them. And you saw what the ETH coming in on launch. And even today, you know, that's people putting money into stuff like they weren't before. So my concern was the 1,000 ETH pre-sale. I'm like, that's a lot of ETH. So is there going to be anybody left to buy on launch? And then they dropped the Bitmart listing. I'm like, okay, people are going to rush to get in now. And then people that don't get in are going to buy on launch. So
and that's a valid concern too. If you're only selling half, you sell 500 ETH, and that you know, that's kind of the market right now. Well, who's going to buy in at launch, right? If those people didn't want to get extra tokens and didn't want to pay the, you know, or save that buy tax, so who's going to go at launch and pay a higher price, right? Who's left? That's always that always is concerning.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, it's like you got a 15% bonus for pre-sale, but there's a lot of people out that don't want to buy pre-sale because of what happens if they don't hit hard cap. And are they going to keep the money, or are they just going to run off with the ETH during pre-sale and not even launch the token? And what if launch doesn't go smooth and I got all my money tied up in pre-sale? I mean, there's a lot of concerns with pre-sales, pre-sale dumpers on launch. There's just a lot of that. So,
and guess what happened? It went perfectly.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it couldn't have gone any smoother.
No, definitely. Between the airdrops all going out, they launched the token on time. I mean, look at the chart yourself. It's right there. It's growing a little bit every day. I mean, it was at 44 earlier this morning and this afternoon, and it's just growing a little bit. You know, it's consolidating a little bit and then going up. I mean, that's a perfectly healthy chart. That's exactly what you want to see. So
yeah, we'll see some nice bumps along the way here once we start dropping some exchanges.
Yep,
I think that.
And they drop the wallet. You know, people get excited about what they're doing and probably buy some more. It's not guaranteed, but people will see things coming out and they'll buy tokens, you know, to a project that's coming out with, you know, going through with their promises. So that'll happen. But yeah, guys, go on the website, check it out. It's very, very awesome what they're doing, I think. So, all right, guys. Well, we're just over an hour and a half, so I think we're gonna hop off. Anybody else have any questions about anything they want to ask? I think I've gone through them quite a bit, kept up with them pretty good.
Yeah, it's always good information on MMAI, and I look forward to doing more of these.
Yeah, and you know, if you want me to come on yours one night, let me know for sure.
Oh yeah, I'll be hitting you up. I'll be hitting you up here pretty soon. You've got to make the rounds.
Lives are one of those things where you just got to start doing them, and once you start and people start following you and you make good content and it's fun, they'll come back. You know, people have messaged me and said, "Hey, are you doing live on Thursday?" So I've kind of go Jays go. Mike, he lives in he's a Toronto Blue Jays fan. He lives in Canada, and we went to a Cardinals game last Saturday, and I sat next to 4 guys. My wife and I sat next to 4 guys from Canada, from Toronto, and they were there for a birthday weekend. Never been to Busch Stadium before, and so we were talking. They're good guys. It was a lot of fun. But then Mike was telling me that that's where he's from, so it was just funny.
That's cool. I forgot to mention to Josh earlier about I believe he's a Denver Broncos fan. I was checking out his Twitter, so and I'm a Seahawks fan, and it looks like we're going to meet again on Monday night.
Yeah,
I was going to ask him how does he like my quarterback?
Yeah, where's it? Is it going to be in Seattle or is it going to be in Denver?
It's in Seattle, but Seahawks or Denver is favored by 6 or 6.5, I believe. So I'm sure Russell will give us a solid thrashing. Yeah,
we'll see. There's a lot of changes this year. It'll be interesting to find out, see what happens.
Yeah. My team we're going to have a rough couple of years, I think, rebuilding. And I keep telling everybody we should have got rid of the coach before we started rebuilding. I think that was the biggest mistake.
Well, we'll see what happens. He might be gone halfway through the season.
Yeah, we'll see.
Happens a lot. Well, I'm a Packer fan, and Rodgers is at the end, and so I'm not looking forward to what happens after that. So
okay, I think I have to leave. I think I have to leave now.
That's what a lot of people say. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I know. One of my coworkers, he is a diehard. He has a Green Bay gear all over his desk, and I give him crap all the time. So yeah, I'm not a fan of.
I have a cheese head with 1996 Super Bowl written inside of it. So
yeah, well, I know you guys have trouble, getting to that championship game. So
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't mind rubbing that in a little bit.
Oh, I know. A lot of people don't. All right, guys. Well, we're going to hop off. I really appreciate everybody coming. Kruger, thank you for the super chat. If I didn't say that earlier. Guys, go sub to Sean's channel. I'll be doing some lives with him, it sounds like, coming up, and he's going to start doing some more. And so we're going to start ramping up probably some more content. So, like and subscribe to my channel as well. And we'll get on here probably next week and do another live. So, again, appreciate everybody for coming on. Sean, thank you for coming on. It's been great. Love talking with you.
I appreciate the invite, and Rad, I appreciate the fact that you're supporting his channel so much, and also Para. So that's really cool to see. And Kruger.
Yep, and you'll probably see them on your channel too. So
Awesome.
they'll make their
Look forward
presence
to it.
known for sure. So, all right, guys. Well, we're gonna get off
Thank
here.
you.
So thank you again, everybody. Thank you, Sean, and we'll see you guys on the next video.
All right.